Combining like terms, adding, subtracting expressions. So this is a summary of what we talked about when we combine like terms with real numbers. So if you need to go back and watch that video, please do so. Each term should be simplified to where there's only one sign associated with that term. So let's review sign combinations. If you add a positive, it's plus. If you add a negative, that's the same thing as minus or subtract. If you subtract a positive, that's a minus or subtract. And if you subtract a negative, that's like a plus. So we don't want plus a negative or minus a negative or minus a positive. We don't want two signs associated with the term. That's more complicated. We want one term and one sign to go with that term or one sign to go with each term. Once you have simplified each term to only have one sign, you're ready to continue. When you add or subtract terms, if the signs are the same, they're both positive or both negative, you add them together, the values of them, and you keep that sign. If they're different, one is positive, one's negative, you subtract the values and keep the sign of the larger. You disregard the plus or minus part. So if you have negative 8 plus 5, 8 minus 5 is 3. The 8's bigger, keep it negative. That's what I mean by bigger number. You don't bigger value there. All right, so here, let's just jump right in. 19x, negative 19x plus 10x. The first thing you have to determine, don't worry about what's here. Not that only. Don't say, oh, there's a plus, you're adding. No, you're not. 19 is negative, 10 is positive. So what do? You subtract. The signs are different. So 19 minus 10 is 9, and you will hear me say this tons. When you combine like terms, you get a like term. So if I combine x's, I get an x, okay? So I have 9x, and then I have to determine, is it positive or negative 9? Well, 19 is bigger than 10, so it's negative. You subtract because the signs are different. 19 minus 10 is 9, it's negative. And then when you combine like terms, you get a like term. I combine x's, I get an x. I don't get x squared. The x's don't go away. I get an x, okay? The only caveat to that is if 5x minus 5x is 0, there's nothing left. If you get 0, then the variable doesn't matter. So here, negative 9m, and I have two signs again. So see, this one only had one sign in between it, so I didn't need to do anything. Here I got to simplify it. So I have a 9m and a 13m. 9m stays negative, plus a negative, we said, meant negative. So now, I know there's a minus between them, but what do? That's right, I add them because they're both negative. They're the same sign. So what is 9 plus 13? It's 22, and if I add them and they're both negative, it stays negative. And then what am I missing? The m, right? If you combine like terms, you get a like term. So negative 22m. Negative 22m. Then we have 2x minus 10x. So here, I have like terms. So I'm going to say, okay, this is going to be, well, look, there's one sign between it, so I'm ready to combine them. Do I add the 2 and the 10 or subtract? I subtract, not because there's a minus sign there, but because the 2 is positive and the 10 is negative. They're different signs. So what is 10 minus 2? It's 8, and 10 is larger, so that's negative 8, and then like term is x, so negative 8x. And then we have 7 times 3y plus 5 plus a negative 25y. So here, I'm not ready to combine them yet. I need to distribute the 7. And then talk about plus or minus, plus and negative. So 7 times 3y is 21y. 7 times plus 5 is plus 35. And then what does plus and negative really mean? It means minus and then 25y. This plus sign says you're not multiplying those two things. That plus sign separates it. You're only multiplying the 7 times that first parenthesis because there's nothing between the 7 and that parenthesis. So you're multiplying it. All right. So here we have like terms. We have 21y and minus 25y. So do I add or subtract those? I subtract. The signs are different. What is 25 minus 21? It's 4. And the 25 is larger, so it's what kind of 4? Negative. And since they're like terms, the answer, when you combine them, better be what? A like term, so negative 4y. But I'm not done because I have what? The plus 35. This has to be brought down. So plus 35. So I had like terms to combine, but then I had to tack on my plus 35. I can't put those together because the 35 does not have a y, so it's not a like term. Do I have like terms in the next one? Yes. I have a plus 9y and a minus 29y. So put those together, I have what? 5. And then a positive and a negative we subtract. 29 minus 9 is 20y. and then negative and a positive, but it's negative because 29 is bigger than 9. Right? Negative and positive subtract to get 20, and then negative 20 because 29 is bigger than 9. So 5 minus 20y. And again, if your instructor, teacher, professor wants that in descending order, or if the book says it, then you just turn it around. The negative goes with the 20y and the 5 is positive. Those are the same answer there. And then here, again, I see this minus a negative business, so I need to change that to a plus and change that to a plus. So what I'm going to do is say this is 15, 3x, 8x, and 10. So 15 is minus a negative is plus 8x. The 15 doesn't change, by the way. And then minus a negative 10 is plus 10. Okay? So now, like terms need to go together. So I'm going to take the 15 with the plus 10 and get what? 25. And then I'm going to put these two terms together. They're 15 and 10 were both positive, right? Add them together and get positive. Here, 3x is positive, 8x is positive. What is 3 plus 8? 11, and it's positive, and then it's a like term, it's x. So if it's descending order, it's 11x plus 25, right? That's the descending order version of that. But 25 plus 11x for this one works here because we weren't told that. But again, if your teacher, professor, instructor says you always do descending order, I don't care what it says, then you do what they say because they're your teacher, okay? Here I didn't tell you, so I'm not making you do it, but typically it is accepted to do that. So here, again, I have plus or minus, which is negative, and I have plus or minus, which is negative, so I need to change those. So this is going to be 13x, which stays positive, 9y, which we said was negative, 17x, which is negative, and then 20y, which what? Stays positive. So do I have anything like the 13x here? Yeah, the negative 17x. So what is negative 17 and 13? That's a positive and negative, so we subtract. 17 minus 13 is 4, and 17 is negative. And then negative 4 what? Negative 4x. And then I have, I'm going to underline my y's twice, a negative 9y and a plus 20y. So again, the signs are different. So what do? I subtract. 20 minus 9 is 11, and 20 is larger, so it's plus 11, and plus 11 what? Y. And just to use my other color one more time. There's your final answer, negative 4x plus 11y. So hopefully this helps you with combining like terms, okay, when it's in an expression, when it's not just a real number or a fraction. Here it is with this, all right?